going to look at some of Lewis and Clark's expedition historical sites. And it's going to be kind of a fun guessing game. I'm going to show you a picture that's an overview of the geographical landscape, and then you can kind of try and judge from there and see what destination it may have been. And we've been perhaps studying Lewis and Clark for a while, so hopefully you'll be able to see some of them. Alright, so if we look at this one, we can see that it's in a very forested area. There's the bend of the river here and a lot of rock formations around. And anyone guesses? It's Lolo Hot Springs. And here are those rock formations that we were looking at, and the river runs right through there. Lolo Hot Springs is an unincorporated community outside of Missoula. A lot of you may have been there. There's like an indoor hot springs as well as some mud pools further up the ridge. And the hot springs location is closest to the trail that Lewis and Clark actually took through Lolo, the National Forest, and they actually stopped to bathe here in the river June 29, 1806, on their way to the Pacific. All right, let's move on to the next one. What does this look like to you guys? There is obviously something right here. It looks pretty solid, maybe of rocks. And you can tell that it's pretty large, judging off of these trees and how much larger it looks. And it is Pompey's Pillar. Pompey's Pillar was founded in 1907, but it was seen much earlier than that by Lewis and Clark on their expedition, 1806 actually. And the rock formation was named by Clark Pompey's Tower, and we now know it as Pompey's Pillar, but it was named for Sacagawea's son, who had nicknamed the rock formation Pomp. And Clark actually inscribed his own name and the date on the rock. Alright, on this next one here, you can see there's a river here with a lot of commotion going on over here. There's lots of white water rapids and a pretty developed area on the sides of the river. And it is Great Falls. Great Falls takes its name from the series of 5 waterfalls that Lewis and Clark expedition had to go around a 10-mile stretch to get away from the falls, because we all know what would have happened if they would have actually gotten to the falls. This was 31 days of time that they had to spend getting around, and so they weren't really calculating this into their journey. But Lewis did describe them as sublimely grand spectacle, because they are really beautiful. If we look at this picture here, that's a very nice view, and I'm sure they enjoyed it, even though it was a hardship for them. Alright, on this next one, we have another river spot, and you can see the way it winds all the way around here. And there's some dry lands out here, mostly farms. And this spot is the Marias River. And we can see right here it's called Decision Point. You can maybe read that. And there's a picture of Lewis and Clark here. The river was explored by them in 1805. And some of the men on the expedition thought that it was the main waterway to the Pacific, but they weren't sure. And it turns out that it actually wasn't. That one veers up towards the north. And the river was named by Meriwether Lewis after his cousin Maria Wood. So it's actually Marias River. And on this next one, we see a large mountain. It's very obvious that it's a mountain. You can see how tall it is, and the ridges here, and this is a very white snow peak. and it's Mount Hood, which is located in Oregon. And when Lewis and Clark saw this, they were very, very excited. They were on their way going over the Columbia, which is between Oregon and Washington, and they spotted Mount Hood, and they knew that they were getting close to the Pacific because they had heard of it before. And so that was very exciting for them. Thank you for playing, everyone.